Hi folks, today we have our lesson 15, okay, page 38, total communication, comunicação total, lesson 15, lição 15, page 38, página 38. Well, today we're going to talk about how far, how near, talking about the neighborhood, okay? Talking about the neighborhood with some pros and cons about the neighborhood. Two guys are talking about. In line 1, in number 1, we say, que distância? Que distância? Que distância means what distance. And we have longe means far, and perto means near, okay? Okay, we're gonna see that here. What distance is it? Is it far? Is it near? In Portuguese, normally we say, what distance is it? Instead of saying, how far is it or how near is it? Got it? Then we say, what distance is it? Distance, distância. So it's not complicated to ask in Portuguese. But you can say, for example, what distance is it? Then you say, oh, it's far from here or it's near here. But for example, you can say far or near. In an example, if you say, is the supermarket near here? Is the movie theater far from here? Then we say that way literally, okay? Otherwise, we say, what distance is it? Que distância é? Que distância? So, what is the distance? Que distância? We don't put is it. Simply say, what distance? And the guy understands what I'm trying to ask. Okay? So in letter A, dialogue 1, diálogo 1, we have there in line 1, person A. One asks the other, onde você mora? Onde você mora? Onde? Where? Você mora. Do you live? Okay? But as I told you before, in Portuguese, it's easier. You simply say literally, where you live. Where do you live? Okay, we don't have auxiliary. So where do you live? We say like this, literally in Portuguese. Onde você mora? Where do you live? And in the next part, the guy says, você mora nessa ou nesta vizinhança? Vizinhança is neighborhood. Vizinhança also means bairro. Bairro. Bairro is neighborhood. Better saying, I would say that bairro is district. District. But we don't say district here in Brazil, but that's what you say. What's your district? What's your bairro? Or what's your neighborhood? Okay? Você mora nesta vizinhança? Quer dizer, do you live in this neighborhood? But as I told you, we literally say, you live in this neighborhood? We just changed the intonation. Remember? I told about this in previous lessons. You live in this neighborhood? Você mora nessa vizinhança? Literally, that's the way we say in Portuguese, so it's not complicated. And the guy says in line 2, sim, eu moro perto daqui. Sim, eu moro perto daqui. It means, yeah, I live near here. It's underlined perto daqui. Perto daqui means near here. Some people say, I live near. Eu moro perto. They don't complete with here. I live near. Or eu moro perto. Ou eu moro perto daqui. Sim, eu moro perto daqui. Moro perto, near. Near here. Yeah, I live near here. Okay? Then the guy in line 3 asks, que distância fica? That fica is the verb to be. Okay? Third person singular. I could say, que distância fica, que distância é, ou que distância está. We have three options. Que distância fica? I put the translation as how near is it? But literally is what is the distance? What is the distance? What is the distance? Qual é a distância? Literally. But I put that, how near is it? Because when you say that in English, I translate que distância fica. Unless I say, is it near here? Is it near here? But there is, que distância fica? What distance is it? Or what is the distance? Okay? All right. In line 4, the guy says, 3 quarteirões. Quarteirão means a block. Quarteirões. Quarteirões, blocks. We can say blocos for blocks, but not everybody uses it. Okay, we use the blocks in another sense. A block in mechanic, maybe for a dentist, a block for tooth or teeth. You understand? Say block. But block, it also means to block, to stop, to stop something. So, 3 quarteirões daqui, 3 blocks from here, 3 blocks from here. 3 quarteirões daqui. Daqui means from here. It's the contraction. De aqui, daqui, from here. Daqui means from here. 3 blocks. 3 quarteirões. Quarteirões. You have to learn that. Quarteirões. Okay? Simply listen a little bit more. Quarteirões. Quarteirão. Quarteirão is singular. It's just one block. Quarteirões, more than one, plural. Okay, then the guy says, 3 quarteirões daqui. In line 5, the other says, e você? E você literally is, and you? I put that, what about you? E você? Você mora perto daqui? Você mora perto daqui? Do you live near here? Você mora perto daqui? Literally is, you live near here? You live near here? In Portuguese, you just change the intonation to ask the question. Você mora perto daqui? You say in English, do you live near here? What about you? Do you live near here? E você? E você? And you? Você mora perto daqui? The guy says answers in line 6. Oh, eu moro longe daqui. Oh, eu moro longe. Longe means far. Eu moro longe daqui. Oh, I live far from here. Far from here. Longe daqui. I live far from here, the guy says. Eu moro longe. Longe is the opposite of perto. Okay, que é near. All right. Eu moro longe daqui. Then the guy says in line 7, in the same way that the question was asked in line 3. Que distância fica? In line 3 I put how near is it? But the guy says that he lives far from here. So you say, how far is it? How far is it? Huh? Because he says, I live far from here. Then I say, how far is it? If you say, I live near here, you can say, how near is it? But in Portuguese, you simply say, what's the distance? Que distância fica? Literally. Que distância fica? Or what distance is it? How far is it? Okay, I put the same. You can use que distância fica for something near or for something far from here. Okay, no matter. Let's go now to line 8, person B. Que distância fica? Then the guy says, não é uma curta distância. Literally, I put there, at the end of the sentence, I put curta. Curta means short. Literally is, it's not a short distance. But in the translation, I put there, it's not a walking distance. It's the same. It's not a walking distance. Não é uma distância a pé. On foot. It's not a walking distance. We say on foot. It's not a distance on foot. Não é uma distância a pé. Você tem que pegar o ônibus. Você tem que. O tem que é o nosso have to. O gotta. You've gotta take the bus. Você tem que pegar o ônibus. You've gotta take the bus. It's not a walking distance. You've gotta take the bus. Não é uma curta distância. Você tem que pegar o ônibus. Ok? Não é uma curta distância. Você tem que pegar o ônibus. Ônibus é o bus. Ok? From the beginning it was omnibus. But it was shortened simply to bus, you say, right? But in Portuguese you say ônibus. Ônibus. Ok? Ônibus. Some people say it's like a slang. Busão. Busão. Seria o bus, a big bus. Busão. Let's take the busão. Vamos pegar o ônibus. Okay, but let's say ônibus. Busão is a slang. Okay. So then the guy asks another question in line 9. Seu bairro é legal? Legal means nice. But I think I told you in previous lesson that the word legal means legal in terms of legal papers. Huh? Lawyers work with legal papers. Okay, legal. It may be legal in terms of law, but legal is legal. Legal. Oh, great, joia, legal, nice. Okay, then seu bairro é legal? You can translate, is your neighborhood nice? Okay? Or is your neighborhood good? Great? Okay? Then the guy says, seu bairro é legal? Quero dizer, é seguro e silencioso? É seguro e silencioso? Then, is your neighborhood nice? Quero dizer, I mean, is it safe and quiet? Is it safe and quiet? Okay? Is it safe and quiet? All right. Quero dizer, é seguro, safe, seguro. And silencioso and quiet. Okay? In Portuguese, quiet, you say quieto. Quieto. You just add the letter O to the T. This word comes from Latin. Quiet. But we say silencioso. Silencioso is derived from silence. Okay? Safe. And we have silence there. Is it safe and quiet? É seguro e silencioso? The guy asks. Then in line 10 he answers, não é mais legal do que o seu bairro. He said, não é mais legal. Is comparative adjective. That we translate that. Not nicer. Not nicer than your neighborhood. I can say it's not nicer. It's not nicer than your neighborhood. Digamos que seja seguro. Let's say it's safe. Okay? Not nicer than your neighborhood. Let's say it's safe. Got it? Não é mais legal do que o seu bairro. Digamos que seja seguro. Não é mais legal do que o seu bairro. Not nicer than your neighborhood. Nicer, mais legal. Digamos que seja seguro. Let's say it's safe. Okay? Let's say it's safe. All right. Let's read in Portuguese. Okay? The white sentences. Okay? Just once again. Line 1. Onde você mora? Você mora nessa vizinhança? Onde você mora? Você mora nessa vizinhança? Sim, eu moro perto daqui. Sim, eu moro perto daqui. Que distância fica? Que distância fica? 3 quarteirões daqui. 3 quarteirões daqui. E você? Você mora perto daqui? E você? Você mora perto daqui? Ó, eu moro longe daqui. Ó, eu moro longe daqui. Que distância fica? Que distância fica? Não é uma curta distância. Não é uma curta distância. Você tem que pegar o ônibus. Você tem que pegar o ônibus. Seu bairro é legal? Quero dizer, é seguro? Silencioso? Não é mais legal do que o seu bairro. Não é mais legal do que seu bairro. Digamos que seja seguro. Não é mais legal do que seu bairro. Digamos que seja seguro. Ok? All right. Let's go now to our next page, right? Next page is page 39. Okay. Now in this part, I put our number 2, living far from work. Living far from work. Two guys are discussing that topic. Vivendo, longe do trabalho. Longe, far, from, do trabalho. Vivendo longe do trabalho. Ok? Vivendo longe do trabalho. All right. Then in line 1, the person says, acho que morar longe do trabalho não é uma boa ideia. Acho que morar longe do trabalho não é uma boa ideia. The translation is, acho, I think that living far from work is not a good idea. I think that living far from work is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Okay? It's literally the same. I think that living far from work is not a good idea. Then the guy in line 2 says, eu concordo com você. I agree with you. Concordo, you have the verb to concord, but you don't use it normally. You say, I agree. I agree comes from French, but we don't use in Portuguese, right? We use concord to give an agreement, to concord. I agree, I concord, eu concordo. Eu concordo com você. I agree with you. Do you agree? Você concorda? Você concorda? We use a lot this expression. Você concorda? Eu não concordo. I don't agree. Eu não concordo. You have concord in English, right? Okay, it's the same. In line 3, the guy says, normalmente, I put there normalmente, means normal. That mente means L-Y in your language. Seria normally. But I put in English usually. Usual. Usual is usual. Just the sound is different. Usual. I could say usualmente. When you add that mente, okay, that suffix, M-E-N-T-E, mente, it means L-Y, li, normally, usually, okay? It's another verb, okay? Then normalmente, or usually, usualmente, o aluguel é mais barato. Aluguel is rent. Usually the rent is cheaper, okay? Mais barato is cheaper. Barato, cheap. Mais barato, cheaper. Normalmente o aluguel é mais barato. Mas você tem que acordar mais cedo para pegar o metrô. Mas você tem que acordar mais cedo. But you have to wake up earlier. You have to. But you have to wake up earlier. Earlier is mais cedo. Mais cedo. Cedo is early. Mais cedo, earlier. But, é o mas. But, you have to. You have to. Mas você tem que. Você tem, it means you have to. Or you must. Okay? But you have to wake up earlier. To take the subway. To take, para pegar. Subway here in Brazil, we say metrô. Metrô. Okay, metrô, it comes from French. It's the metro, metroliner, metrô. In Francais, metrô. Metro. I saw that in Canada too. People say metro, to take the metro instead of subway. But it's the same, metrô. But we don't say subway in Brazil. Metrô, ok? Você tem que levantar cedo para pegar o metrô. É muito cansativo. It's tiresome. I put here muito. In reality, it should be, it's very tiresome. But I didn't put the very there, which means that muito. I would say é cansativo. It's tiresome. Or it's very tiresome. Tiresome. Okay? Tiresome. Cansativo. Cansativo. All right. Okay. Let's go now to line 4. And the guy also makes a compliment. Ele compliment. E durante as horas de pico estão sempre lotados. E durante as horas de pico. Horas de pico, we translate for rush hours. Some people say na hora do rush. Só que eles falam rush. Because the R in Portuguese is strong in the beginning of the word. Então, some people say na hora do rush é muito difícil. In the rush hour it's very difficult. Okay. And during, durante. Durante means during. It's a Latin word too. E durante. And during the rush hours, we say pico. As horas do pico. Rush hours. They're always crowded. They're always crowded. Eles estão sempre, always, sempre crowded. Sempre lotados. They're always crowded. Okay? And during the rush hours, they're always crowded. And the guy says, sim, é terrível. Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. Okay, look, terrível is Latin. It's the same as terrible. Pay attention in one interesting thing. The suffix, V-E-L, vel, okay? You change in English to B-L-E. Terrible, terrível, terrível. You understand? Every time you see B-L-E, you're going to change for V-E-L in Portuguese. Just to understand how the words are made. The composition of words are interesting. So, terrible, terrível. 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 Because in French, it's terrible. It's the same. Okay? You use exactly the French word. We know we have the origin is Latin, French. We say terrível. Terrível. Sim, é terrível. When you have two R's, it means that the R is strong. Okay? When you have just one, it's not strong. It's a weak R in the middle. But when the R starts a word, it's strong. It's like a letter H for you in English. Okay? Sim, é terrível. Devemos morar perto do trabalho. Devemos ou devíamos ou deveríamos. We have three translations for should. You should. You are given an advice. Oh, we should live near to work. We should live near to work. Huh? Nós devíamos morar. Nós devíamos. Ou nós devemos morar. Devemos morar perto do trabalho. Devemos morar perto do trabalho. O work é trabalho. Ok. In line 6. Além do mais. Besides that, além do mais, means besides that, or could be beside this or beside that. Perdemos mais de uma hora indo e vindo todo dia. Perdemos mais de uma hora. Perdemos mais de uma hora, it means we waste more than an hour. Mais de uma hora. Hour, hora. Ok? That's why you keep the H hour mute. It's like in French. Ok? Perdemos mais de uma hora. We waste more than an hour. Indo e vindo todo dia. I underlined indo e vindo. I put it the way you say in English, commuting. To commute. The word to commute is Latin. We have in Portuguese, it means comutar, to commute. But we don't usually say that in terms of transportation. If I say I commute every day, literally, eu comuto todo dia, the guy will not understand. I put there, perdemos mais de uma hora indo e vindo. It means coming and going, or going and coming. Okay? So, besides that, we waste more than an hour commuting every day. Yeah. And they are lucky. Some people waste more than 2 hours. That's terrible, right? That's why I think the best idea is to live closer to your work as much as possible. Okay? Because this, you can go on foot. Okay. And then in line 7, the guy says, eu tenho outra razão para mudar. Eu tenho outra razão para mudar. It means, and I've got another reason to move. Mudar é move. Okay, it's Latin too. Move, mover, mudar, it's the same. Okay? Mudar, mover, to move. We have mover too. Okay, the same. And I've got another reason to move. Minha casa, my house, is near the airport. My house is near the airport. And my house is near the airport. Minha casa é perto do aeroporto. Oh, airport, you say aeroporto. Aeroporto. Airport. Air. Porto. Port. Ok? My house is near the airport. Minha casa é perto do aeroporto. E o barulho é terrível. My house is near the airport and the noise is terrible. Terrible again. Ok? E eu tenho outra razão para mudar. Minha casa é perto do aeroporto e o barulho é terrível. Ok? And I've got another reason to move. My house is near the airport and the noise is terrible. Okay, let's read again just in Portuguese. Living far from work. Number 1. Acho que morar longe do trabalho não é uma boa ideia. Acho que morar longe do trabalho não é uma boa ideia. Eu concordo com você. Normalmente, o aluguel é mais barato, mas você tem que acordar mais cedo para pegar o metrô. É muito cansativo. Normalmente o aluguel é mais barato, mas você tem que acordar mais cedo para pegar o metrô. É muito cansativo. E durante as horas de pico estão sempre lotados. Sim, é terrível. Devemos morar perto do trabalho. Sim, é terrível. Devemos morar perto do trabalho. Além do mais, perdemos mais de uma hora indo e vindo todo dia. Commuting. Indo e vindo todo dia. E eu tenho outra razão para mudar. Minha casa é perto do aeroporto e o barulho é terrível. E eu tenho outra razão para mudar. Minha casa é perto do aeroporto e o barulho é terrível. Okay, folks. That's the end of our lesson for today. Okay? I would like you to subscribe the channel if possible. Give your like or your dislike. All right? And we're going to continue in our next class with some other lessons. Okay? See you then.